Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a long weekend. It was a holiday here in the U.S. yesterday, so that's why I didn't stream yesterday. And I tried really hard to take a break from coding since I've been a little bit burnt out at the end of last week. So I think I went 2 full days without coding anything. I did do some work on Saturday. But Sunday and Monday, I did nothing. So it's been a really long time since I've gone 2 full days without coding anything. So that was kind of nice, relaxing. So today we're going to try to get Google Analytics working with this. So we have Google Analytics already on there. If you've been watching, you might remember when we added that in. But it's not working exactly the way that we wanted to. And I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't have time to deal with it before the launch. And as I suspected, we haven't really had very much traffic. So it's not a big deal that the analytics aren't like 100% what we want them to be. But I'd like to get them up and running the right way as soon as I can so we can start getting the best data. So let me show you what the problem is. I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll show it to you in case you're not sure what I'm talking about. We're using client-side routing. So when the page first loads, Google Analytics loads like normal, okay, and it tracks a page view. But then after that, when we click to another page in the site, the analytics code doesn't do anything. It doesn't register that a change has happened. So no data gets sent. So I'll show you what's going on, and let me pull this off for a second, and I'll bring in the site. Okay, so I've got the real-time analytics up right now, and all this is showing is just who's on the site right now and what page they're on. Okay, so right now I'm on the team page. I'm going to hit refresh. Let's see if this will do it for us. Let's see if a refresh will trigger, or if I'm going to have to completely open up a new. There we go. Okay, so refresh triggered this, that I'm on the team page right now. Okay, and that's registering, should be on the map. Yep, that's where I am. So now when I go, let's say, to the About page, nothing has happened. It's not coming up that it's about. I can go over here to courses, events. None of these are registering. And so we are getting like an accurate count of how many people are coming to view the site, but we're not getting an accurate count of how many pages on the site they're visiting. All right, we only get that first page view, and then if they happen to do a refresh, a full page refresh, manually, then we get that. All right, but it would be nice to know, all the other pages that they go to. So that's what we want to set up. And normally, I've set this up for single page apps before where you have client-side routing without a page refresh. And it's not really a huge deal. You just modify the code. But in this case, we have to be careful. We don't want this to run on the server side. And we don't want to, in particular, we don't want to look for, let me show you the code so you know what I'm talking about. What we're going to do, sorry, I was kind of rushed getting ready, so I can't remember where my windows are. Okay, so what we need to do is look up basically like the path name. So it'll be something like, instead of, we're going to get rid of this code actually and try something different, but we would basically make a page view mean when we get the path name. So we would look up window.location.path name. Well, on the server, there is no window objects, right? So I don't I don't know for sure if that would create an error and mess the site up, or if it just wouldn't log anything. But I don't want to take that risk and try to run this. So I'm not. My first idea when earlier today was, well, let's just throw this code. We'll edit this code a little bit and we'll throw it in on some fun like component did mount or something like that, and we'll see what happens. But then I thought, no, I don't really want to risk messing anything up. I wish we would have had time to test this out more beforehand, but we don't. So now, at some point, we're going to have to put this on the live site to see if we're really getting any reading in Google Analytics. At some point, I would like to set up maybe a parallel site so that I could do some testing on that, but we just don't have it right now. So here's what I'm thinking. I went on to, so I'm using Next.js. Before I go any further, I'm just going to check. Hey, everybody. I have some people in the live chat that said hi, so I don't want to ignore them. Hey, it was somebody from the Philippines. Awesome. Okay. All right, so we're using Next.js. So we are using React, but Next.js is basically kind of like a way to scaffold your React app. So it sets up a lot of stuff for you, like server-side rendering and routing. Although we are doing some custom routing, it does handle a lot of those things that might be difficult, especially if you're first starting out with React. You don't really need to know how all that stuff works to be able to make something with React. That could really bog you down from being able to try it out. So it's really good. If you've used Create React App before, they're comparable things. They both let you get started with React quickly. So normally in a React project, we'd probably be using something like React Router, and then there are really specific instructions for how to get Google Analytics working with React Router. But with Next, I haven't been able to find specific instructions. So what I did find is an issue about adding the script tag. So I assumed other people had the same issue, and that was correct assumption. So a lot of people have also been dealing with this. And some of the things like this uses Google Tag Manager. Well, we're not using Google Tag Manager, so I'm not going to try that one, obviously. There's some other solutions, like down here it looks like this is working when he used React-GA or -GA. So I decided to take a look at that. I looked at how he implemented it here. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it a little bit better. This site that he's referring to that he built is pretty awesome and intricate, but there's so much other stuff going on that it's hard for me to follow. So it's not really a good example for me to use, because this has a lot of other stuff built in, and the way it's doing things is so different. So luckily, recently, within the last couple of weeks, someone posted this. So this is what we're going to try. I'm not entirely sure exactly where all this stuff goes, to be honest with you, but hey, that's how it is sometimes. So this is going to be a little bit of, I'm not really sure how this is going to work out, but I want to get this working before I leave today, and I'd like to leave early since I put in so much extra time the last few weeks. So let's get started. All right. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a second so we can go over to the code. And I'm going to bring this over. Let's see. Lost my window again. Sorry. Let me bring this. I think I pulled it out so I would have it ready and I lost it. Here we go. Okay, just to show you what we're going to use, this is it. So it's a package, npm package here that's specifically for using Google Analytics with React. So we're not, since we're using it in a specific way with Next, I don't really think a lot of this documentation is going to be that helpful for us. I did skim a little bit. Honestly, I didn't really read the whole thing in a detailed way. So we're going to install this, and then we're going to try to apply it from that example that I showed you a second ago. All right, so let's pull over our command line so we can install this. I was really trying to find a way to not have to install another package, because that means I would have to install it on the server as well. So that would be, a few more seconds of downtime for the site when I update this. I'd rather not have any downtime. So until I get the setup where I can switch off between two versions of the site and have no downtime, every time we do an update, there's going to be, it's usually somewhere between 30 and 45 seconds of downtime. If somebody's already on the site or has been on the site, some of that's already cached since we're using a service worker. So they may not realize the downtime, or it may only be for a few seconds for them, but I still would rather not have any. Alright, so we're here in our folder for our local version of this site. And we're using Yarn, so we're not going to do an npm install. We're going to use Yarn. If you're not familiar with Yarn, I don't know if I linked it or not in the description, but you can look up Yarn. It does the same thing as npm, but I think it's a little bit faster. So I've been using Yarn. So we're going to do Yarn add, and we want ReactJS. Okay, so that's done. That's good. Now we can move this over, and let me bring back this just a second, just so you can see it in case you're just tuning in and you missed it. I'll make this bigger. Whoa, that was a lot bigger. Okay, so this is basically what we want to do. We want to import this ReactJS that we just downloaded, and we want basically these two functions. Okay, so this, we probably don't need to keep this. This is just a console log. This will tell us it's working, which is good. We want to initialize this with our specific code. So each analytics property has its own code. So we're going to put our own code in there, and then this is what will actually log the page view. So remember I said we're going to look up, we want the path name. All right, so since it's not really a real page refresh, all right, we need to look up what the URL is manually, and then we're going to set that as the page view instead of the default. Okay, and then on component.did_mount, we're going to initialize it and then log it. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. If you've worked with Google Analytics before and done any type of single page application with analytics, like, this is not new stuff. I just haven't done this before with Next. So hopefully it all works. I also haven't worked with ReactJS before. So what I'm assuming happens, like I said, I didn't read thoroughly through everything. What I assume happens is that there's something going on here that will make sure that this doesn't mess anything up when we try to render on the server side. So I assume that simply because a lot of the discussion on that thread, on that issue on GitHub, was about this not running on the server. So that's why maybe it's not a safe assumption, but we'll find out. Alright, so I'm going to move this over so we can go over to our code. What I do want to keep So let's just go to, we want to go to one of these interior pages, I guess. I guess it doesn't matter. We go to any of the pages, but I'm just going to go to an interior page here, and let's see how this works. Okay, so I just pasted this in here. Hopefully, I've actually not worked with like multiple exports here. So this is what I'm a little bit not, I'm not clear on, and you guys are going to see my my inexperience here with this come out. So if anybody is watching this and saying like, what are you doing, dude? Just let me know. Let me know if I'm going wrong here, because I'm not super confident in what I'm doing. And remember, this show is not about me being an expert and teaching people. This is about giving everyone a glimpse into what I do as just one, front end developer day to day. And hopefully, we both learn from each other when we do it. But I can't guarantee that I'm always showing the best way to do things. It's just the way that I'm using to get the job done. I did have some people talking in the live chat. I don't want to ignore it completely, so I'm just going to take a few seconds just to check out what's going on here, especially since I asked if anybody knew what was going on. Oh, awesome. So, Humberto, let me know. Should I pronounce the H at the front of your name, or should it be more like Umberto, like a silent H? I can't, I'm not sure. So let me know. I want to pronounce it correctly, because I know I know you watch frequently. But anyway, Humberto said he's giving me a daily boost of confidence. He said what I'm doing is amazing on this site, and to keep it up. So I appreciate that. That's stuff like that makes me want to keep doing this. If at any point I think that this isn't really helpful for anybody, then I probably won't do it. But as long as somebody's getting some benefit from this, I'll keep doing it. And I suppose as long as my boss is cool with it, I'll keep doing it. Okay. So he also says he's only used .NET Framework, but have found ways to incorporate things that I'm doing. So awesome. And now he's going into listening mode. So that's cool. Yeah, actually, I've had to work with .NET stuff just a little bit, like super minimal with .NET stuff, and I'm just like, I know enough to like edit little things on the site, but I really don't know exactly what's going on when I do .NET stuff. So that's really cool. Maybe when I have to do some .NET stuff, then you could help me out, and I'll definitely stream that. Jimmy says, "Please monetize so I can watch an ad." um, okay, I want to help with this. Okay, all right. So Umberto says it is a silent H. So I apologize for pronouncing the H before. I will remember that, and from now on it will be Umberto and no H. Someone asked if I know how to work with Laravel. I do not know how to work with Laravel. The only thing I know about Laravel, and hopefully this is right, is that it's a PHP framework, correct? I have worked with PHP before, but usually only in the context of WordPress or making like a little file uploader or something for a small site. So that's the extent of my PHP knowledge. Okay, I'm going to go back to this and see. So basically, I just copy and paste this into here. I suspect there's a way that this could just be somehow in its own component, and we could import this and not have to include this on every page. But at least for the purposes of testing this a little bit, let's just put it here and see if we can get maybe this console log to come up when we test it. All right, so this is going to be here. Now we need the component did mount, which we're not calling that on this page yet. So let's pull that in, and we're going to put that inside this component here. And the other thing we need, I might as well put this in now, although it doesn't really matter when we're testing locally, is I need that code. And like an idiot, I look down at the bottom when my footer's in another component. Here it is. Alright, so I'm going to grab this code. Hopefully this works, and we don't have to spend a whole lot of time troubleshooting it. Although it might be a more interesting video if it doesn't work. Alright, so I'm going to save that, and we'll go over to our site here, and I'll bring up DevTools. I think I already have it up somewhere. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, we're going to go over to our console, and we're going to navigate to the About page and see if we get it should say something here in the console. What are we looking for? GA init. And we did not get it. Let me still didn't get it. Okay, didn't get it. So it did not work right off the bat. So we also, we didn't get any crazy errors either. Okay, catechetics, monstrance. Why are we getting this? We are getting a 404 error, which is crazy. Alright, so this is like, I don't know if anybody caught the really dumb thing I just did, but I tried to check it on the live site instead of on the test site, so sorry about that little waste of time. Let's bring over the test site now. Just have a lot of windows open. I'm sure somebody else can relate to having a million tabs open and windows open. So here is the site we really want to test, and I will open analytics here. I do want to check why I'm still getting an error on that, because I think I got that error earlier and I fixed it, so maybe it's just some caching stuff. Okay, so we want to go to About. Let me bring up analytics, and we want to check the console. So again, let's try this. All right, we got it. Okay, so we did get this GA init. Okay, and that was obviously a client-side route, and one of the ways that we know that is none of this stuff left the console. Normally when you do a refresh, unless you have it set to persist your console, all this stuff will go away on a refresh. What is of it? Oh, okay. All this stuff is CORS errors going on for images. So for some reason it's set on where these images are to not accept requests from localhost, I guess. So it doesn't really matter for testing right now. Alright, so that's awesome. So that's working. Let's put it on a couple of pages just to double check and see that it in fact is still working and we're not messing anything up by including this stuff in the head. I mean, I'd rather have this separately, but for now I want to get this up and running quickly and can always refactor and make it look nicer later on. And I know I always say that and then sometimes I never get to it, but at least we'll try to get to it. Alright, so let's try the team page. And what else do I have open? Index. Okay, that'll be good. 3 pages will be good. Now what we also need to do is put those functions in component did mount, those function calls. So there's my original page. So I know in index I already have component did mount, so I'm just going to copy the calls. I guess it doesn't really matter the order right now. Team. And I'm also calling it on the team page. Okay, and if you didn't watch the video on making jQuery work with React, that will explain why I have these calls here to these functions. This is to make the jQuery stuff work that I was already using on the site. To make sure it works when we do client-side routing. It works already when you're doing a full page refresh. Okay, so you got all those. We have it on 3 pages, so about the index page, which is the home page, and then the team page. So let's click around and see what happens. So I guess we can go, let's go to the home page. All right, we got it. We have that init console log. Let's go to the team page. All right, great. We got the init. I don't know if you caught that, but before I got all this stuff, we did get the init. I'm not going to scroll up, but I saw it happen. So let's go back to the about page. Okay, and I'm just going to go back up. All right, great. So we know we can go back and forth from pages. This is firing again. It's working again. We're not getting any weird errors, at least related to that. We're getting a lot of other weird stuff going on with errors. You can check the live site. We're not getting all these errors in the live site, so that's why I'm not worried about it. All right, so I think the next step here is let's put this on all the pages and let's push it to the live server and we'll give it a test. And I have the link to the live site if you want to check out the site. I also have a link to the GitHub repo if you want to follow along in the description for this video. Okay, let me grab this part again, and luckily we don't have that many pages, so we can see 1, 2, 3. We only have like five pages. Not bad for copy and paste. Let's throw that in, and here. And we're not actually using the single news page right now. If you remember, we didn't have content to fill this out, so we just left it out, the whole news. Actually, in fact, the news page and single news are completely left out. But we ought to just put it in here while we remember what how we're doing this. You never know. I might. When that finally does get added into the site, when we get the content, I might forget how I did this, so I guess I could go back and watch this video. And now I just want to pull, I'm just going to pull these. I think a lot of these pages I'm already using component did mount. Okay, yep. Okay. I'm going to close some of these so we can see what's going on. Okay. Alright, and I think that's all the pages, so I'm going to push this to the server, I'm going to save it, I'm going to push it to GitHub, and then from GitHub we're going to pull it to the server. So if you've been watching, you've probably seen me do this several times already at least. But if you haven't watched and you're not sure how to do this part, or you're not familiar with Git, then I'll just go through it again. So do git status. It tells us everything that's changed, so all our pages obviously, but if you remember, we added a new package, that ReactJS package, so that's why our yarn lock file, which keeps track of package versions and things, and we never actually edit this directly. And then our package JSON file, which we can edit directly but we don't often, those also changed. So those are being included. If you notice, the package itself is not included. Okay, we don't upload our node modules to GitHub. That's pretty standard. You don't have to upload them all, because as long as you have this package JSON, anybody, yourself, you could load that on a different machine, or anybody could load this and then just with that package JSON file be able to install all the dependencies. So just a little tip. I mean, I'm sure you could push your node modules up if you wanted to, but it would just be kind of a waste of time. Alright, so now we're going to commit, and I'm just going to do one commit message for all of this, since it's all basically the same thing. Alright, that's not the most descriptive thing in the world, but sometimes it's hard to come up with good commit messages or function names when I'm on the spot on YouTube. So we're going to git push. Okay. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. This is awesome that this happened though. Okay. Because this is... if this has never happened to you before, if you haven't used Git that much, then you can learn from my mistake, from me. Alright, so sorry, I can see that there's posts in the live chat. Sorry for ignoring this. I will check it when we're done with this. I'll go through, I'll read everything. So if you stick around, if you can stick around, I'll answer any questions that you put in there. And if you can't stick around, you can watch the recording and I'll answer it then. So I had edited on Saturday. I worked from home, and I had made some changes to this site. I pushed it to GitHub, and then I pulled it into the server. I forgot to pull those changes back down to my local copy here at work. So what's going to happen now is it has to merge. Okay, so this is a pain when this happens, and it could have been avoided. At least I think it's a big pain. A good rule that I try to have, and I always forget, is every day I should come in and start by doing a git pull. Even if I can't remember making changes, I ought to just do a git pull, because maybe I did make changes and I didn't remember, like today. So, and then you avoid that, and everything will be fresh. So now it's time to pull these changes down. Actually, I can't believe it let me do... Maybe it didn't. It didn't. I didn't even notice it earlier. Sorry if I'm being weird here. I'm laughing at myself. I tried to make a git push earlier, and I didn't even realize that it got rejected because I didn't pull yet. So earlier in the show, when I was looking at the live site, and I was like, why is that error there? I fixed that. Well, it's because it hadn't actually... I actually went through the process. I thought of pushing it and then pulling it into the server, but I pulled in nothing to the server. There are no changes because it never went up. So, sorry, if you're not familiar with Git and you have no idea what I'm talking about, sorry for being confusing, but let's do this properly now, and let's do a merge. Okay, so we'll go through just to let you know what this error message is. Okay, so the remote has stuff that I don't have locally. we don't want to, we want to sort out what should actually be there in case there are conflicting changes. We want to go through those and figure out what should actually be the change. So we're going to do a git pull. And now it's going to bring up, I have set as my default for this Atom. It might be different for you. Maybe it'll be Nano, writing your text, writing your editor, or if you're using some other code editor, maybe you're awesome and use Vim. Who knows? So this is, you're just going to type a message here to explain why you're merging. And I'm just going to say merging okay. I mean, that's pretty much exactly why. So now I'm just going to save this. And that should be, actually I can't remember. Do I need to save? Maybe I need, no. Alright, so I need to save and I need to close. And then it should go through, hopefully. Maybe not. I honestly, I have messed this up before, so I'm not super surprised. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so it looks like we have some of the stuff here. Let me do a log. I haven't done this command before, so just to explain, git log will show us what we've had, what we've done. Okay, yeah, so it didn't pick that up. Somebody's saying, Patrick's saying I have to close Atom. No, I wish I don't want to have to completely close out Atom here. How do I get out of here? Escape. I can't figure out how to get out of, I can't remember how to get out of log. There we go. Q, that's it. Okay, so maybe since I exit out of there, let's just see if it makes me do it again. Local changes. So the following files would be overwritten by merge. Please commit your changes or stash them before you merge. Alright everybody, I'm just going to commit these changes and I'm afraid it's going to overwrite what we did, but since it's not a big deal and it's only those 2 pages, I'm just going to do this. Please do not use this as an example of what to do. Use it as an example of what not to do. You can see how much of a pain it is if you just don't pull first. So I'm usually the only person working on projects, so if you're used to working on teams, you're probably looking at me like, this guy's a noob. I just always forget to pull because it's always usually me working on it and usually from one computer. So this is something I don't even really need to do that often. Let's just say I don't even remember exactly what I changed before. Okay. Your branch and origin master have diverged. They have 3 and 1 different commits each respectively. Use git pull. Okay. Now it's going to ask me to do this again. Okay. I don't even know. Alright, that's a horrible message, but it's not descriptive at all, but I just want to get through this at this point. And let's save that, and now I am going to close out this tab. Let's see if that's enough to make it work. Yes, it did. Alright, so Patrick, good call on that. the problem I had the first time was that I didn't actually close out. So if you see like this tab opened, I should have closed out this whole tab. Instead, I just closed out this document, and that wasn't enough. So that was the problem. So that would have been the right thing to do, in case you were wondering. Um, sorry if I confused you by messing it all up. Alright, so now we should be able to push. Actually, before we push, let's check our files and make sure that our stuff was still there. What did we have changes from? Pages, events, and resources. So let's just look at one of those. Events. Alright, we still have everything we need there. And actually, I remember what I changed. So let me look. On the events page, I added a button with a link here. Okay, we have that button now. So everything that was changed is there. Just wanted to be sure. Let's make sure. There we go. Alright, so now that's there. Let's go to the server. So we're going to have to do one extra step that we haven't done before on the server. So I'm already logged in. I just used SSH to get into the server. I'm going to... Oh, nothing's coming up when I'm typing, so maybe I did get logged out and it's just a little laggy. I'm not going to realize it. I'm going to give it a second. If not, I can always open up another tab and try to get in that way. There we go. It probably worked on this one now too. Alright, so I can close this out. Alright, so let's log in using SSH and then my username and the IP address. Now, we normally use this command. So let me bring this command over for you. I'm going to copy and paste it. This is the command we have been using, and it's just chained together basically what we need. Alright, so we have, we're going to stop our server. We're using PM2 to manage that, and then we're going to CD, we're going to go into the React folder for a project, and then we're going to pull from GitHub, and then what we would normally do next is run the build. But since we pulled in another package, we need to do something else. We need another step in between there. So I'm going to go back, and we're going to do an npm install, and then we're going to do the rest of it. Okay, so we need that step. Otherwise, that code we just added, when we went to, like here, when we went to, sorry I didn't make this bigger. I apologize. I've been doing this whole video, and it was probably too small for some of you to see. So we went in, and we're trying to import this, but it's not going to find it unless we install that first. So it's going to read our package JSON file, and it's going to see, hey, it wants this ReactJS, but we don't have it yet, so it's going to install. Then it's going to go on with the rest of it, which is going to build the app again, and then it's going to restart the server. So let me hit enter, and we can watch it work. I don't know how much time this npm install had. Hopefully not that much time, and we can still be under a minute of downtime. Okay, so you can see now it's installing. It's already done the pull. Here's the change in the package JSON. Okay, so the install went all right. Warnings are okay. As long as you don't have an error, the install is usually fine. Now we're building. The build process usually is like 30 seconds, sometimes a little more. And as soon as this gets up there, we'll test it. Assuming that it works, then I'll check out the live chat. And I have another interview from SyntaxCon, this time a short interview from Emily Freeman that I'm going to show here, hopefully in a few minutes, because hopefully this works. And if you haven't seen the previous interviews that I did some last week, they're just kind of giving some advice to people who are just starting out in coding. All right, so this is online. It says it's online now. Let's test it out. Let me bring over the live site. Actually, I think I closed that window that I had earlier, so I'll just bring it up right here. Catechetics. Yes. All right, so it works. I'm going to bring up the console. If you remember, we left that console log in, which at some point we'll probably take that out, but we can see that part's working. Awesome. Okay, so let me move this here because I want to see if this works. So we came in at the home page, right? And we have here the slash here. This is the home page. Now, I wish there weren't 5 users on it right now. I wish it was just us. That would give us a better test. But basically, we know that one of these is probably us. So let's click About, and if this works, we'll see About show up here. And I guess I can make sure on the console. We did get another console here. Yes, and About did show up. So we have one About. Let's make sure it just wasn't somebody else coming on. We'll click around. We have a team. We already have one team, so it should switch to 2 here in a second. Yep, 2 for team. Nobody's on courses right now, so let's go to courses and see. If it works here, that's all right. Awesome. Okay, so we are on courses. So there we go. So it works. We now have proper analytics coming in, even when we're just doing client-side routing and there's no page refresh. So just to wrap up, we're using Next.js, okay, which we've used to pull in, React and build that out. We're using the client-side routing there that comes built in with Next.js. And we've pulled in the package, the NPM package, ReactJS, and we've just included that on every page, just like this, just super simple. We've included it, we have some functions we're initializing, and then we're setting the page view to what that current path name is for that window, and we're sending it with this function, we're sending it to Google. And then on component.did.mount, we initialize, or we run these functions, the init function, and then with the send. So it actually ended up working exactly like I thought it would work, exactly like we talked about at the beginning of the show, and that's pretty awesome. The biggest challenge was doing a git merge, which is embarrassing for me. So... All right, Umberto says that user in Washington is probably him. Oh, cool. All right, so we got a couple people in Washington. It looks like Bellevue, Seattle. All right, so one of these is Umberto from the live chat there. So cool. Yeah, if you're on now, you can see yourself, your little dot. Google Analytics is a huge time sink for me. It's cool to just check out all these maps and see what's going on everywhere. So I try to stay away from it when I can. Otherwise, I waste so much time in there. Oh, nice. Patrick is just like on point today with the great advice. Patrick says the little what's that called? A tilde. The little tilde will terminate a frozen SSH session. So I'm gonna try really hard to remember that because that will be useful for me. Thank you. So let me go through some of the stuff in the live chat quickly and see if I can answer any of your questions before I do I go to the interview. And actually, let me bring this up so that I don't forget to do the interview. I'm just going to bring this up right now because I did forget previously. You can actually kind of see me in the background here in the reflection. So. All right, so let me go through. Any tips on how to make a nice looking Navbar. Um, I personally, I like the material design style, and I think it's nice to be able to work from a set of like established um, kind of rules for design and guidelines. So I would check out the material design documentation on how they do nav bars. If you just type in material design, it should be one of the first things that comes up, the official one. If you want to use a framework, check out Materialize as a framework. It uses material design and it has nav bars. I like to try to start with that and then change it as I need to fit the use case. I find that to be a lot easier than trying to start from scratch. It does depend on the site I'm doing. If I was doing like a site for me, like my own portfolio or something, which my own portfolio site is super old and I haven't worked on it in like 5 years. So if you go there, uh, be kind. But if I were doing some site that I had like total artistic freedom with, let's say, and I could do something crazy, maybe I would do something different. But normally, like on a site for a client or for the college where I work, I would probably start with something that's kind of like tested, proven, like something that users generally expect, so that it'll provide them with a familiar user experience. They don't have to learn how to use my navigation when they go to the site. So hopefully that helped. I know that wasn't like really technical. If you have some code or something up on GitHub, send me a DM on Twitter or in the comments below or something below this video, and I'll check it out, and I could give you maybe some more detailed tips. All right, Vladimir says this is a really cool thing by streaming real work. Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad you like it. That was probably It's probably one of the few original ideas that I've had that you've seen is the idea to just stream me doing my regular work. I at least have never seen anybody else stream the regular work. So maybe there's probably somebody else out there that was doing it before me. But at least from my perspective, I did come up with that idea on my own. Uh, Update the live site first. It must have been one of the times where I messed something up, and somebody had a comment said update the live site first. Um, you're hitting the live site. Oh yeah, yeah. It looks like everybody else caught my mistake except for me, and eventually I caught it. Okay, Ayaz Hussein. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your first name. Says, can you make a HOC and wrap the pages in? Um, if you don't know what HOC is, that's higher order component. That's a good idea, and I'm going to tell you the only reason that I didn't use higher order components here is because I'm still learning about them and I'm not super confident with doing it yet. So I've seen examples of other sites and kind of checked out their GitHub repos and how they did it, but um, I feel like I keep using this as an excuse, but it's totally true. Because the timeline was so short, I really had to stick with things that I knew were going to work. I don't like to do that. I always do like to kind of push it and do new things, but that's just how this worked out. So the next project hopefully will have a much more reasonable timeline, and I can try some things out, maybe like some of your suggestions that you all are putting in the live chats, and really kind of make it even better and just expand, what I'm capable of doing. But uh, yeah, in general, from what I know and what I've seen of higher order components, that would have been a good way to go for some of this stuff. But I just don't know enough to have used them confidently. Okay, at least Umberto is saying he knows about the conflicts in the pool stuff. So I'm glad it's not just me. All right, Cronies. I don't know how you're supposed to say your name, but it looks like Cronies with two Z's at the end. It says, "Wow, A1 man team. I don't I'm not really sure what you're referring to. I don't remember what I was doing at that point in the video. So if you're still watching and you want to explain that, I can. I just can't remember what was going on there, what that would be referring to. Kishore says hello. Hey, how's it going? And okay, Musad said, can you tell us what you did so far? Because I joined like 5 minutes ago. So I did do a little recap at the end. If you came in after that, basically we were using client-side routing, so our Google Analytics wasn't picking up all those jumps between like pages of the site. So we just changed how we were loading Google Analytics to be able to pick up all those things. So that's a really simplified version, but if that sounds like something you're interested in, check out the replay, which will be available about like just a few minutes after this stream ends. Okay, Patrick, I was wondering about, Patrick says it's tilde period, not just tilde. Okay, so he says there are other commands that work with the tilde, so good to know. I wondered about that. I saw the period at the end, and I wasn't sure if that was included. So if you want to terminate a frozen SSH session, Patrick has a good advice here. Use tilde period, and that will terminate it. So, all right. Let's see. So Paul says, "Cool to watch this live work. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It can be a bit overwhelming on just how much there is to learn for someone who is in a few months in. I totally understand that. Yeah, the best advice I could have to you is like, don't worry about trying to learn everything at once. You know, just take it like whatever you need to know for a project you're working on, you know, learn that. And eventually you'll get a better understanding of what you need. You don't need to know everything. There's just way too much out there to know it all. And you'll get a feel, as you keep doing it, you'll get a feel for what you like and what you're good at. And that'll kind of steer you in the direction of, you know, where you really want to learn. I think to be really good at something, you have to rule out other things at some point, because there's just too much to try to be awesome at everything. So the more you're into it, the more you'll get a feel for that. But just, you know, don't feel too overwhelmed. I mean, I don't think everybody knows it all. You know, there are people who are just really good at their little niche of what they do, and there are probably some people who just know a little bit about a lot of things. But yeah, don't worry about it. I know it's a lot to know, but you know, you'll look back in a couple months and think like, man, I know so much more than I did, and it'll be an awesome feeling. Oh, okay, so we got an explanation about it. It says, wow, A1 man team, he said that because I'm working alone. Okay, awesome. Sorry I didn't get that at first. Yeah, I guess there are perks to working alone, but then also they're not. So like, there are a lot of sites right now that, like, let's say I went on vacation and something happened to the site. There is no one else here at this university that could fix the site but me. Because sometimes maybe it's just an access thing, or it would take somebody too long to try to figure it out. So that's not a good thing. Hopefully that's going to change. And I will have some other people that'll know what's going on. That's part of the reason why I think these videos are so good, that somebody could look back on how I built this site and probably get a pretty good idea of what's going on, you know, from the GitHub repo and from these videos. They could piece together most of what they need to know to work on this site. So, I mean, it's not really why I'm doing this, like, completely, but it's an extra bonus included. So it would be cool to work on a team. I think it'd be awesome to have somebody else to learn from and to be able to look at my code. And that's what, I mean, you all are kind of fulfilling that role, that function for me. You know, you see what I'm doing, and you all are giving me so many. Umberto just said, in-code comments, nudge, nudge. I was thinking it in my mind when I said it, like, that's what comments are for. Yeah, I definitely need to level up my comment game and my code. It's when you're the only person maintaining your code, it's so easy to get lazy about comments and style. I'm going to try to get some of the computer science here involved in developing sites. So some of them, they may actually, get paid to work, work for me, and some of them might be interns. At that point, I'm going to have to really set, like, this is the style we use for CSS, for JavaScript, and these are the conventions we use, and you got to comment everything. And I'm going to have to get more disciplined at that point. I'm going to have to probably slow down at first, but it'll be better in the long run if I'm more disciplined about that. So yeah, thanks for calling me out on that, Umberto. It's totally true. It's totally true. I need better comments. All right. I think I got. Let me read these last few comments, and I think we're through. Okay, awesome. Cronies says he's working on his portfolio. He's been working with LampStack and Vue.js. So yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at your site and just let you know what I think. Also, that's awesome. You're working on Vue.js. I hear a lot of good things about it. I haven't worked with it yet, but at some point I'll probably check it out if I get a chance. I kind of I'm torn. Like, do I really want to learn another framework, or do I want to just focus on React and try to get good with it? But at some point, I would still like to check out Vue. Okay, awesome. So I'm pretty sure I got through everything. If you had a question and you didn't get to answer it, put it in the comments below. If you don't want everybody in the world to be able to see it on YouTube, then just send me a DM on Twitter. My link to my Twitter is in the description. Also, now that I launched this site, I'm going to have a little bit extra time. I'm going to start making short tutorial videos and putting it on my YouTube channel. So if you want to be alerted when those videos come out, you can subscribe. I don't really care if you subscribe or not, but I'll probably let you know too on this channel when those videos come out. All right, so I'm going to play this video that I've had up on the screen for a while, and this is Emily Freeman, and I filmed this at SyntaxCon 2 weeks ago when I was there, and she's going to give some advice to new coders. Oops, and I forgot I need to put the sound on, so hold on a second. All right. Okay, so you should be able to hear this now.
Alright, so, wait, what was the, I'm Emily Freeman. I'm from Denver, Colorado, here at SyntaxCon, giving a talk, well, two talks actually, because I'm a crazy person. Gave one on Humpty Dumpty, a story of DevOps gone wrong, and then the Dr. Seuss Guide to Code Craftsmanship. Then what else you got for me, Justin?
So what do you do? What's your
day-to-day?
Yeah.
I am a Java developer. I build APIs and services. I haven't figured out a way to make that more interesting than it is. But yeah, in Java, in Denver for a very small company.
And what's a new technology that you're excited about?
I don't know if it's like a new technology, but I am excited to just learn another language. So I've been in Java for the last year. I started in Ruby. Love Ruby. It's my favorite. But then I'm super interested in either picking up like a Go or an Elixir, something like a little different than what I've done.
Cool. And what advice do you have for new programmers?
Yeah. Just keep going. I think it's really easy to get discouraged or feel like you're the new person and you're never going to get it. But you will be amazed at how much you learn over time. And so it's very hard to kind of see your growth when you're in it, and so that means finding a mentor or a trusted peer to kind of remind you how awesome you actually are. So just keep going, keep at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So, oh, cool. Thanks, Paul. So it's a great interview. Yeah. Hopefully that the interview was helpful. I have one more interview from SyntaxCon to do, and I'll probably do that tomorrow. So it was great talking with you all. There's a lot of good stuff in the live chat. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And like I said, let me know. Let me know if you had any other questions. I think I already covered that, right? I don't want to repeat myself. You know where to put the questions. Oh, okay, actually, I do want to mention this because this is good advice. Cronin says meetup.com is a great place for people to meet other developers. So I haven't been there, but I guess check it out. And oh, okay, you're welcome, guys. Humberto was saying thanks. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna try to head home and enjoy the nice weather that I'm having here. So thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.